Welcome to the Help Myself podcast. I am your host, John M. Singletary Sr. You know I got to put that senior in there because I got my junior, aka LJ. That's my co-pilot. That's who I do it for. Listen, I am excited to bring you another episode of the most dangerous podcast in the land. Now, why is it the most dangerous podcast in the land? That's because we are taking the power and putting it back in the hands of the people who it belongs to. And who are those people, you ask? You ask such good questions. The people are you. So that's our mission. We want to make sure that we're bringing inspiration, professional and personal development, tips, tricks, tools, and techniques so that you can live a better life and inspire the people around you to live a better life. And then I get the awesome opportunity to interview people who I admire, who I'm inspired by, who have done great things, and they get to tell their stories of how they've had success, how they've come through, situations that require resiliency and tidbits that they can give to take us to the next level. And today, I'm going to wait until we actually get started before I get into the genesis and all of that, because it's a hilarious story. But this is somebody that has kind of, been interactive with some of my friends that do podcasting, and I've been noticing her on social media, and I've been inspired by the way that she moves and the way that she does what she does. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to reach out there. I'm going to shoot my shot and see if she would come on to the Help Myself podcast. So I've talked long enough. Let me bring to the stage. She is the owner, operator, and founder of the Bethancourt law firm. She is a motivational speaker, and she is the host of the new IG web series, Dear Future Husband, which I will be on. At the time that this broadcast, I will have already been on, so we may not be friends any longer after that. So, but without further ado, let me bring to the stage Briseida Bethancourt.
Hey, hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. I'm excited to be here on the Help Myself podcast. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, no, it is my pleasure, my honor, and my privilege. I am glad you said yes. Short notice, too. Like, you just came, look, we matching, your what you wear is matching my pocket square. So,
And I got white and black, too. We a whole matching duo here.
The universe is universal. So I gave you a small introduction, but I want to give you a chance. And people, I've been practicing saying her name correctly, but she's such a kind human being that she just says we can call her Bree. But but why don't you give us a better introduction, or introduce yourself? Anything I may have left out, or anything you want to cover?
Well, you know what? That introduction was amazing. So everything that you said was actual facts. My name is Briseida Bethancourt, which you could just call me Bree Bethancourt for short. And, and yes, I own my own law firm. I am 6 years in at this point. I am a motivational speaker. I speak on stepping outside of the box and conquering your fear. And that part. And then I'm also, like you said, the host of a brand new IG series named Dear Future Husband. So, I mean, everything you said was absolute facts.
It's absolute facts. And let me tell y'all need to make your way Thursday nights
Yes.
on IG. Matter of fact, I got to make sure I put the information up so they know how to follow you. Put that up there so they can. I still got that in there. Let me hide that. I'm going to fix that. But, people got to check it out. You had your first show last week, and you want to give us any highlights about the first show?
Yeah, so the first show of Dear Future, y'all, I'm only one show under my belt. Then my second show will be this week, Thursday. And so the first show was talking to, my first guest was a male, and we were talking about football, right? And since football season is upon us, we were talking about football and just like what is y'all's thinking on that whole scenario? Because I am not a sports person. Right.
Okay.
But I'm actively dating. So that's what the whole show was regarding. And then this week's show is now talking to the women. An avid NFL fan that's a woman, and just seeing her perspective on dating and being an NFL fan and all that good stuff. And I have questions for her. So listen, it was a lot of takeaways from last week. We talked about lingerie. We talked about Listen, it gets real on this show. Make sure y'all tune in. We talked about lingerie.
Please tune in.
Please, okay? The comments were live, by the way. The party is in the comments, FYI. We talked about, what else did we talk about? Lingerie.
Talked about opposite sex co-workers and
opposite sex co-workers going to watch the game at a bar with the opposite sex that you happen to work with, and if that was okay or not. And if the answer was no, did that mean that you were insecure? We talked about how there was a 3-hour window,
3.5 hours. Yeah.
No contact rule. We talked about a lot. So it was a very interesting conversation, especially from, again, my point of view, because I'm not a sports person, so I don't know how that works, you know? So it was very interesting. And so this week I plan on getting into the mind of females and seeing how that, you know, and I'm asking the same questions, like lingerie. I mean, are we yes or we no? And not even lingerie, sexy clothing, period. Which y'all think everything almost, other than hoodies and sweats, are sexy clothing, I think. So
hoodies and sweats can be sexy too.
That part, you know, but in Texas heat, like, what am I supposed to? It's football season, and you're supposed to just
yeah, because football season goes through February. So,
but I'm like, right now it's hot. What am I supposed
to? It don't start till next week. It don't start till next week.
Oh, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
See how much I know. So
yeah, and it goes through the winter months. So
okay. The hoodie and sweats are okay in the winter, but like next week.
I don't know what sexy clothing is, because I posted pics of me in a suit and I've been told that I was thirst trapping, and I'm like, I'm fully clothed. But hey, you know.
Well, I mean, for a man, yeah. In a suit, yeah, that'll do it. They ain't lied. You may not be thirst trapping, but I mean, you know.
That's what they said, so they did lie.
Thirst, so there's that.
Okay, so and we'll probably get more in that, but I want to make sure that when you talk to the lady, the show is Dear Future Husband. Mm-hmm. So we need some guidance too, because we out here trying to figure it out too. And I feel like everything would be better if we would come together and compare notes. So, you know, appreciate you for your service to the dating community, because we need all the help we can get.
Yes, I can tell, because I'm out here too, and it's a mess. So
yeah, it's a mess, man. We can fix it though. Maybe not all of it, but some of it. So let me tell y'all my introduction to Bree. Years ago, you were about maybe 3 years in,
okay,
with your law firm. So and you were on a show with one of my buddies. You were on the Ray Sorrell show, and he was interviewing you, and you were holding court. I mean, you always own your space, but man, you really were doing it on that show. And a conversation came up about brushing teeth. And you said, you know, I was familiar with brushing the tongue, but you was like, yeah, you know, you need to brush the roof of your mouth too. I had never heard that, but immediately I was like, that makes sense, man. So that has been my little way to tease you now. Every time you post something or you'll be on a live. I'll come in there and comment, yeah, tell them to make sure they brush the roof of their mouth.
But that's so crazy that was the introduction, you know what I'm saying, for you and I. But I like it. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's revolutionary. Like all of this stuff in here is skin, man. Keep it clean. You know what I'm saying? So, but when I tell people that, they just crack up and they're like, you really need to get your life together because you a mess. And I'm like, I claim it. I'll claim it. I will claim it.
That's a real thing. That's a real thing, y'all. Brush the roof. Top and bottom. I mean, I don't even understand. Like, that's a real thing. Yeah.
It's a real thing. Yeah.
So now you're 3 years in, I'm assuming.
I am. Okay. Me and my son. We are, man. Welcome. Yo, I went and brought a tongue scraper and everything. Like I'm trying to change it. Listen, when my future wife comes, I'm gonna have it together. It's gonna be right to the left and make a shoulder lean your shoulder.
I like that. She's gonna be ready. You gonna be ready. Your tongue gonna be ready. Everybody gonna be ready.
Hey, that's the work. It's not to find her. It's to make my life and my space inviting so that she is drawn to it and is safe when she gets here. So,
and I like that you said that because I asked, I've been asking the question lately, like, okay, you're wanting a future husband, talking to myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But are you the future wife that he deserves when he comes, right? Like, are you who you need to be? And that's a real question. And that's
here's what I tell people though. Here's what I tell people because we're in varying degree, and we turn this into a relationship. We're gonna get back on track in a minute, but man, me and Bree, we be talking about everything. But here's the thing: people are at various stages of their life, in their healing journey, in their development journey, and all of these journeys. But none of that, in my opinion, I think people need to understand that does not disqualify you from being deserving of the love of your desires and your dreams. But if we understood that when we do get that love, that doesn't mean it's time to stop developing and growing, then we would understand that we need to be, I think some of the dialogue in these conversations about relationships that just I'm displeased with is the attitude that they got all the knowledge and they know exactly what it is. You don't. People in successful relationships are still figuring it out. So how are you in your single self talking about all women are this or all men are this,
Yeah. And I like the key takeaway is to continue working on yourself. Make sure that you're right. Everybody is, worthy of having love, but make sure that you're not presenting, boo-boo on a platter for sure. For sure.
Bree don't play no games. Don't bring no boo-boo on a platter.
No boo-boo.
Okay. So we got three things to unpack in one question, because the question I have for you is what inspired you to get, so the base question is what inspired you to get into your field of expertise, but specifically for you, I'm curious, what inspired you to, one, get into the field of law, two, to get into speaking, motivational speaking specifically, and then how you're branding, people got to see that it's a lawyer. You got to see that. And the branding and the Dear Future Husband series, which is a part of the entire brand. That's the kickoff. Got merch and t-shirts. Hey, I cuss a little. But what inspired these three particular journeys?
So starting with the law firm, I've always wanted to be an attorney since about 6. I always said I was going to be an attorney. I want to say first it was a nurse, then it was the president, and then I settled at the attorney part, right?
I wanted to be the president too till I went to college and was in I was political science pre-law. And I found out that he or she wasn't as powerful as I wanted to be. So I was like, I don't need all these checks and balances.
Right. And so, I settled on being an attorney at 6 and just kind of held on to that. And of course, kids at 6, I'm 6, right? So my mom was like, yeah, okay, you're gonna be good one. You're gonna be an attorney. And I was like, I am. And so that's my kid voice. by the way. So, anyways, ended up being an attorney. And so the way I came, so I do entertainment law. And the way that I came about was I went to school in Dallas for undergrad. I went to UT Arlington. And I was walking in the mall one day with my roommate, and I needed a job, and this place was like, now hiring, right? And so she's like, look, they're hiring, you need a job, go. So I went in there and filled out an application. And it happened to be a CD store. I'm aging myself. It was a CD store, right? When we still bought CDs.
She said I'm aging myself. They ain't been gone that long.
But listen, nobody walks into a CD store. They don't even exist, okay? To walk into a CD store at this point. But
you don't.
This is when Slim Thug, Chamillionaire, was still driving the entire state of Texas and physically dropping off CDs from their trunks. And
okay, yeah, you're dating yourself now.
Okay, so this was before the label, signing with the labels. This was before all of that, right? And so started working with them. They happened to, so the owner of the record store also happened to work with Red Rum Records. It was a record label here in Dallas. This is all in Dallas. So it was a record label here in Dallas. And they were like, okay, Bree, we're going to bring you on to the record label. And you're going to start low you're going to start at the bottom. So right now, we're going to throw Hard Rock Cafe parties, and then you're just going to work the door. And I was like, okay, right? Because I'm a college student, like, who cares? Now I get to party for free. I done hit the jackpot. That's what's up. You know what I'm saying? So met all kind of people, all kind of stars, all kind of athletes with these parties. These were major parties in Dallas at the time. One person came up. So I started getting into the habit of asking people what they did, because I didn't recognize everybody. So every time somebody would come and they would get like that special treatment, like they didn't have to stand in the line and they got rushed in. What do you do? This one guy was like, I'm an entertainment attorney. What? I don't even remember his name. I wish I did. And so I didn't even know those two things. Entertainment attorney existed. Now I can mesh both worlds. I love music and I want to be an attorney. So now,
Yeah.
And so that's how that worked. That's how entertainment came into my life. What was the other question? I'm sorry, I have ADHD.
No, that's okay. Motivational speaking now.
All right. So motivational speaking people call me all day, every day, to ask me my advice and ask me, from the outside looking in, I guess it looks like I got it all together and I'm not scared of anything and whatever the case may be. And so they flock to me and ask me all kinds of advice. And
now hear how she said that? They flock to me.
They flock to me. Don't, that's what they do. So don't do that. Okay. and so they started asking me for advice, and it was like, you should really, take this on the road. So that's what I did. Motivational speaking. And then what was the third question?
Dear Future Husband series.
Thank you.
I really want to know I don't even want to ask specifically just the series, but if it's okay for me to say it, you're building a brand. There's a brand behind that. It's part of that umbrella. So like, what was the motivation behind not just the show, but we could talk about the show because the show is awesome. But
thank you. No, the motivation behind Dear Future Husband was, to be honest with you, my first post ever about Dear Future Husband was 5-6 years ago. Okay.
Really?
This is like, yes, like this didn't just start. This has been a long time in the making. So 5-6 years ago, my first post said, Dear Future Husband. I think I was taking down my braids or something at the time. And I was like, Dear Future Husband, if you grease my scalp, I'll grease your beard or something like that. Right. And so if you follow me on these are the type of things that I do.
It's beautiful, but I'm like, that's random.
Random. And this is how I am, right? So I'm super random. Anyways, made that post. It somehow resonated with a lot of people. They enjoyed it. They thought it was hilarious. So I did another one. I was like, okay, well, let me do another one. I forgot what that one said. And it kept going. So I kept posting these Dear Future Husband posts. People were looking forward to it. People were stealing my Dear Future Husband stuff and started making their own and then people would come tell on them. It was a whole mess, y'all. And so then I decided to expand the brand. And so I took all that off of social media. And then, life got in the way. It kind of got put on the back burner. And so that's why now I'm coming out with this series to kind of put mesh my posts and real life experiences together. And so that's how we came to the Dear Future Husband brand. But this has been in the making for a while.
Ooh, man, the idea light just came on. Like, you should do reels and clips with the Dear Future Husband stuff and just start speaking kind of like spoken word, those musings that you used to post with the show. We'll talk about it.
Offline. I like it though. I like where you're
going. Okay. So now you're gonna be on stage just talking about law, inspiration, and prepare yourself for Dear Future Husband and to be Dear Future Husband. Look at that.
I guess that. And then believe it or not, I have facilitated my second call since the first show of consulting men about dating. And I didn't even know that would turn into that. Like,
you better charge.
I'm going to start if this keeps up. I'm like, y'all talk to me all the time. Y'all have never asked me about relationship advice. And now all of a sudden, I'm like a matchmaker or something.
Your time is precious. Charge them. Make them pay like they weigh.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So what do you see next for the Dear Future Husband brand?
Y'all, it's going. There's a book coming.
Okay.
I see the show again. I keep saying I only have one under my belt because y'all don't even understand the feedback that I have gotten just with that one show, right? And so I see that this series by itself is probably going to go ahead and is going to go ahead and take off, and it's going to do wonders. The book, will be close behind it, and then I hope to start doing conferences, Dear Future Husband conferences, and touring the world, and just touring the world. Well, touring the United States, but then eventually the world, and then just talking to people about the things that we all have been through at one point in time, right?
Why would you limit that? Yes, the world.
Well,
the world.
The world.
The world. Yeah, because if I got a friend that's touring the world, maybe you could get me on to be on one of the sessions.
I'm gonna have to put you on stage on a panel or something.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'll come out there and thirst trap now. Just
in your suits. I like it. And then have like a booth in the back where you just like signing. You like signing. What are those called? The lapels? Is that what that is? What is that?
About these?
No, the thing in the pocket.
Oh, pocket squares.
Oh, what's the lapel? Did I make that up?
This is the lapel.
Okay, because I'm good for that. Okay, so the pocket squares. So you're just gonna be signing pocket squares. You're gonna have a booth in the back just signing pockets. It's gonna be amazing.
Okay. I receive it. So what were some of your inspirations to get into law specifically? Because you kind of skirted over that, man. I know that was but what were your inspirations for that? We know what your motivational speaking inspiration was now.
To get into the law, so let me tell you what my motivation was to keep going. How about that? Because I didn't have anybody to pattern myself after necessarily.
Okay.
I'm the first lawyer on my mom's side, and then my dad. They say that there's a lot of lawyers. I haven't met any of them. They're also in Panama, so I don't know. So I didn't have anybody to pattern myself after, but I will say that my mom was a big motivating factor for me. She unfortunately, ended up being a single mom due to some, unfortunate circumstances. And so had to raise 3 kids on her own while, and at some point tried to get, was not tried, but worked towards getting her master's degree and climbing the company that she was in. And so she was a big motivating factor for me, because people like to box you up. People like to put you in a box, right? And say that you're not following, status quo, then you're not going to be able to do A, B, and C. And she was able to do A, B, and C, and succeed on a very high level, by herself. Now she's married, but at the time, it was just us and her. So she was a big motivating factor, to just be able to dream big and do whatever it is that I put my mind to.
Man, that's awesome, man. Shout out to moms. That is awesome.
Yeah. And now I have an 8-year-old. So unfortunately, I'm also a single mother at this point. And I have an 8-year-old. And that seems to be, or that is my motivation now to continue going, and to do
super facts. Oh yeah, super facts. I tell people all the time, man, and we probably need to talk about it a little bit eventually on some kind of platform. Guys do not understand. If you ain't been the custodial parent, you don't understand this struggle.
That part. That part, because you don't know how many guys that I meet just out and about, like, in a dating world. And I'm like, hey, I have an 8-year-old. And they're like, yeah, I got a 6-year-old too. And then they don't understand that I can't drop everything.
Nope.
Right now, you decide to call me 5 minutes, hey, you want to come hang out? And I can't drop everything like that. But they feel like, because they have a small child as well, or they have a child, like they understand. And it's a different game.
It is.
When they're with you all the time. So
way different. Way different.
Right. Way different. I don't have the flexibility and that freedom that, and I'm not going to come over on a school night at 9 o'clock. Like I'm not doing it, so
no.
No.
It feels weird saying that, but yeah, that's a no. We got stuff we got to do. We preparing for another day. We laying the groundwork for success. I can't just be willy-nilly, and so.
And my baby sleep. Like, she sleeps, she's in the bed, she's, she has to get her 10 to 11 hours. They have to get 10 to 11 hours at this age.
That's right.
And she makes sure she gets all 10, 11. So,
Shout out.
So yeah, I'm not about to wake her up to come, like that's a lot. And they don't understand it. So it proves to be difficult sometimes.
Yeah. So
yeah,
talk about all your successes and all that. Let's talk about your resiliency story.
Okay.
Let's talk about something that could have derailed you, possibly should have derailed you, but you fought your way through it, and you're thankful that you're sitting here today and didn't succumb to.
Yeah. So interesting fact, I got kicked out of law school. That's
interesting fact. Wow. She said, okay, you want to release it? Pow! We give you that.
I mean, it is what it is, right? So in your first year, it's like tryouts for the first year. So you have to make a certain grade for them to let you continue. So it's not like pass or fail. It's you have to make like a certain average in order to continue your second and third year. And so I did not do too well that first year. And there were a lot of factors in place. But mainly, y'all, those tests are, they're brutal. They are brutal tests. And you have like 5 or 6 classes. And then you have like 2 to 3 hour worth of tests for each class, like a final exam. And they're all writing. So you're writing for 2-3 hours, 5 to 6 times, right? And you're writing from beginning to end. I used to, people don't believe me, but the test starts at 2:00. You are writing. There's a fact pattern, and you are writing everything that you can possibly write for 2 to 3 hours, nonstop. Now, earlier I mentioned I have ADHD, right? And that's real. So I can't handle that. At some point in time, I'm bored. I want to be done. And so now I'm rushing through whatever, to hurry up and get up. I need to get up. I need to walk around. I'm going crazy, right? So that didn't work well. That didn't work out well for me the first year. And so I had to fight to get back in. I was diagnosed with ADHD.
Okay.
I was also diagnosed as having a high level IQ. which people don't understand that just because you have ADHD, right, doesn't mean that, right? So I got diagnosed with a high level IQ. My mom was a witness, so now, you know, she low key has to address me as damn near, you know what I'm saying? Like, right? And so I was able to get back in. They did give me testing accommodations because I needed it. The way my brain works, I needed to take a break.
Like just listening to it now, I'm just thinking I can't see, as far as we've come, I can't see making somebody sit in a testing room for 2 to 3 hours straight. Like that's crazy.
Right. And then you got the blisters on your fingers, and you're just writing and trying to hurry up and get it all out before, you know, the timer is up. So got testing accommodations, which meant more time. You know, if a test was like 3 hours, they gave me like 4. And I also got a separate room. Right. So I was able to get a separate room because I found out that I talk to myself and I process out loud verbally. So I have to talk through the fact pattern and be like, now why they got Johnny out here, you know what I'm saying, on this train slapping people, you know? And so I have to I have to talk to be like, Johnny can't be doing that. And then I can formulate my answers and write it. So it went from very, very low grades, C's and D's, to A's and B's. That was it was night and day for me, right? So that's my little resilient story.
Dang, man, you mean to tell me I could have got a room to myself?
If you was down there a genius, maybe. I don't know.
I think I fit the other key, the genius part, though. Nah.
You probably do, though. I was down there a genius, too.
Oh, man, I had the craziest roommate ever. We still talk about my freshman year roommate. His name was Champ.
Okay, Champ, come through.
Yeah, Champ was.
So who was crazy, you, Champ, or the both of yous? Which one was it?
No, it wasn't like we wasn't friends or nothing. It was just some stranger that I was paired up with as a roommate.
You didn't become Champ's friend?
We were cool, but Champ was doing drugs, staying out all night and all that. Like one night I came in and he was like, bro, I haven't slept in 36 hours. And I was like, why?
Okay, so were you one of those students that, you know, well, first of all, did you live in the dorms?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So were you one of those students that went to class when you were supposed to go to class, turned in all your work, was on time?
No. Yeah, no.
I
was one of those students that no matter how late, like obviously not 8 o'clock classes, no. But I could sleep through a 2 o'clock in the afternoon class. Like it just, no. And all of that studying and stuff, I think my GPA my first semester was a 1.9. Got that letter that if I didn't get it together, I was going home. And I'm like, it's not like I get in trouble, but ain't nobody helping me. I'm doing this on my own. So yeah, no.
I'm still friends with my undergrad roommates. I'm still friends with them to this day. We like formed a little clique and everything. I can tell you, I partied Monday through Saturday in undergrad.
Me too.
Monday was for rest, and Monday, and I don't even know how.
We found parties on Sundays.
I took that to rest and study for whatever tests were coming up.
I think I rested a little bit on Tuesdays, but
not Tuesday.
Man, nah, because Monday we found a way to get it in on Mondays too. Yeah. I think it was Tuesday.
Yeah. No, like it was real back in the day.
Yeah, it was.
Every time. And I tell everybody now, like I'm like, yo, if your kid, encourage your kid to go to if they're going to go to college, to stay on campus, because that's a whole different ball game and experience.
It's an experience that I can't, and I've been in the military. There's no way to replicate that experience, man. It's just, it's a game changer.
Yeah, it is. It teaches you a lot, and it gives it's you get the best of both worlds. You're not fully away from your parents, you know, like you said, they're still responsible for you and they still take care of you in some type of fashion.
You still got a meal plan just in case you mess up.
But then you're on your own, so you got to figure it out a little bit, you know. That was probably one of the best times of my life.
Man, me and my buddy get on the phone and we'll talk for hours about stories from college. It's crazy, but it really shaped The good and the bad, because we got a lot of bad, but we did some incredible good too. So.
Yeah, same. And that's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show, you know what I'm saying?
Of college experiences.
All right, so if somebody came up to you and said, Bree, I want to be just like you, what kind of resources would you point them towards?
So I would assume that they're talking about the attorney, me, right?
You assume that, but that might not be.
Okay. Well, if they're
They
talking
might
about
watch you on IG and be like, I want to do a show too.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know what resources to point them to on that because I'm kind of winging it myself. So but there are a lot of good, there are a lot of IG influencers out there and IG people that are doing really well as far as whatever they're influencing or doing, a show or whatnot. So I would suggest that they follow some of those people. And then if you were asking me about resources for law school, I would suggest you go, I don't know if they still have it, but Walmart used to have an LSAT book.
Yeah.
Practice out of.
I think you got to get it from the library now because
Okay.
I know we had them. As an Air Force recruiter, I would always point people to go to the Air Force library because we had a bunch of them there.
See, I got my LSAT book from Walmart, and if Walmart doesn't have it, I'm sure Amazon does. But it was like a huge practice thing, because there's a lot of tricks and riddles and rhymes, and you're like, what? Like, why is this even a thing? So I would point them there first, and then point them towards a mentor that's in the field of where they think they want to go.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So, what is the Bree quick take, mantra, motto, words of wisdom? What is your thing that you say to keep yourself inspired and that you share with others to inspire
them? That again, my whole thing is breaking outside of that box, right? Don't allow anybody to put you in a box and their own mental limitations. Don't allow them to put that on you, right? You carve out your life the way that you want to carve it out, and if it hasn't been done, it doesn't mean that it can't be done, right?
Come on now.
Just live your life we only get one, so live your life in a way that you choose to live your life, and have no regrets. That's what I would tell somebody.
No regrets. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
All right. Well, I know your time is very precious. We appreciate you coming on the show. But before I let you go, I want you to give us some closing thoughts for the people.
Closing thoughts for the people. I got you, people. Okay. Here it is. Okay. Be true to yourself. Love you first, right? Because you can't take care of anybody else until you have mastered the art of taking care of yourself, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. So love yourself and be real out here because there's a lot of fakery. Quote me on that.
Quote her on that. It's a lot of fakery out here in the dancery.
In the dancery.
Man, thank you so much for blessing us today. And I think we got a lot of spin-off topics. We're going to see how my visit to the Dear Future Husband IG series goes. And we might have to connect again and talk about some different topics. We've already talked about another. We're going to talk about that brush the tongue and the roof of your mouth. But we got college experience. There's a lot that we might be able to talk about. So we'll definitely have to see where it makes sense and to come together like Voltron.
Okay. Listen, and I'm so excited to have you next week. I think that's an amazing topic, and it's one that's worth, that I have seen a lot on social media. So that right there, that's going to be a good topic.
Soon as you finish this week's show, I'm going to start pubbing it on all my socials. So I want to make sure that people don't come. Well, you know what? Forget it. I'll just start putting it out because if they come to see me and they come to see your show, that's more pub for you. So winning. winning. But again, thank you so much for being so kind and gracious. And I'm going to close the way I always close. Listen, I can't help myself. I've got to inspire. I've got to encourage. I've got to empower. But I can't help myself by being the absolute best version of myself. You can too. So why not we do it together? And guess what? We out.